yours. All right, everybody, long overdue, but we are back with another episode of Wealth for the Culture. And, it's your host, Ollie Brady in the mix, man. And I have a special guest. Been waiting on this one for a minute. Y'all already know, man, I talk about getting in the rooms with people, meeting other people, getting out there and exposing yourself to, other people out there making it happen and doing things that's, not the norm. And this one right here, we got Princess Neugent on, and I ain't gonna go crazy. I'll let her introduce herself, but she doing it big out here, man. 6-figure killer. She has an online e-commerce store, boutique type deal going on. She's out here killing the game. I'll let her go into a little bit more, but she might be all humble and stuff. So, you gotta let everybody know that, you gotta let everybody know what it is. She killing the game. And I met her and her husband. Man, it was at one of them network events I went to for Black Wealth Renaissance. So shout out to getting in the room, because a lot of people that was one thing I always stressed last year, just get in the room and start trying to meet people. And once you start meeting people that's the same, they got the same mindset as you, you'll never know who you can tap into, and then it just allows your network to grow. So first off, how are you doing today, Princess?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I can't complain, man. I can't complain. It's the first pod back, as y'all know, been like a month. I do apologize to everybody. Just been real busy with the IA switch, career switch, and cleaning business. As y'all know, I gave y'all an update not too long ago. But enough about me. It's all about Princess. So just real quick, people that ain't familiar with you, don't know what you got going on, just give everybody a little bit of a background about yourself and what you do.
Okay. My name is Princess Neugent. I have an online boutique. I sell women's clothes sizes small through 3X. The brand is called Neugent, my last name. I've been in business since 2015. Wife, a mother, and y'all don't want me to keep information to myself. So I run a 6-figure apparel brand, like I said, all online. I recently transitioned into the fulfillment last July, so coming up on a year. What else you want to know? I don't want to.
Give us the full spill. This is your time to shine, man. Give us your story. How you even got into this?
Okay, so I'll tell you how I got started. Before I started my business, I actually worked at a mortgage company, and I was what they called a loan counselor, aka debt collector. So that's where I was working prior to starting my business, and I was there for maybe about 2.5 years or so. And then me and Chris had our daughter in 2015 in April. And then I took my maternity leave, and fast forward to July is when my maternity leave was over or about to be over. So I didn't want to go back to work, and we didn't want to put Madison in daycare or anything like that. So I basically quit. I virtually sent in not even a 2-week notice. I basically just told them I wasn't coming back. And from there, I was basically just at home with the baby trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do something online. During that time, I was doing a lot of research online. I knew it had to be online because I didn't want any type of, I guess you could say face-to-face interaction, because I'm kind of to myself or whatever. But I knew I wanted to be online. Originally, I wanted just to have a completely drop ship store. That's what I originally wanted to do. But with vendors and things back then, I couldn't find vendors to have the type of clothing and things that I wanted to have. So originally, I was selling shoes, just all shoes, because I've always been heavy into shoes. Originally, I was a sneakerhead from middle school all the way up through high school and college and all of that. So I was selling women's heels first. For the first, I would say 2 years or so, I was selling just women's heels. It was, at least for the first year or two. And then I slowly started transitioning into clothes. I would have a couple dresses here and there. And then I noticed that more and more people were asking me about the clothes. So then I just started getting clothes. And originally it was small to large. And then I had a bunch of plus size women asking me about clothes. So then I started slowly incorporating plus size clothes. And then from there, I basically dropped the shoes. I have some shoes that I still sell, but for the most part, I sell mostly apparel and then just selective amount of shoes. But it's all apparel for the most part. And like I said, it's stylish and comfortable clothes. Some things are a little bit more on the, I guess, the upscale dressy side, but mostly everyday clothing.
Okay. No, you said you've been doing this since 2015.
Yeah.
God, that so everybody always say like the business usually feel like in the first like 5 years. So that's a testament right there alone that you're able to continue to do this, right? And also you started, I don't know, like 2015, was that back when like online, like e-commerce wasn't really like, it was just starting to really get popular like that, I feel like on like social media stuff.
Yeah, I feel like yeah, you're right, and I'm sure there were other stores, but back then, like I can tell you right now, I didn't do a whole lot of online shopping back then. Like back then, I didn't even have like an Amazon account or anything like that. I
Hmm.
did do a little bit of shopping online, but not compared to how much I shop online now. So yeah, you're right.
Okay, and so like, how was that startup for you? Like, what would like for anybody that's trying to get started in this, right? Like, kind of break down what that startup was like, what went into. Like, I know you did some research and stuff like that. Like, what make, and I know you transitioned from the shoot. Like, you were doing shoot 2 years. That's crazy. I mean, you just completely transitioned. You still killing it. That's
Hmm.
wild as hell. But like, explain to everybody like how you got going, like some marketing techniques, because that can't be easy. You're a faceless business, but also that's like something that everybody should want to do because you're not dependent upon you know, a certain personal brand behind it, right? Like you could, if you wanted to, you could
Yeah.
sell this business. I don't know if that's your goal one day, but
Oh nah, that's not my goal. At least not right now.
okay. So like, how did you, like, yeah, how did you get going into like, what was your startup like for this? Like, what does that take?
Startup, it was definitely how they say like late nights, early mornings. Because with the baby, I was always up late anyway. You know the whole they wake up every 2 hours and all of that. So I was already up. So during the time that I would be up, feeding, changing the baby and stuff like that, I would be up just researching, whether it was on my phone or my laptop. I would be on Google, just doing different searches, looking for vendors and things like that, just to get me started. Of course, just like any business, when you first start out, the first couple vendors that you try, they probably trash. Like you just taking chances. But as I kept looking, I found different marketplaces and things like that in order to get the type of at the time shoes that I wanted. But the vendors that I was reaching out to, they also had clothes and things like that. Just a big marketplace for everything that I needed. But I will say, like, with doing the online searching, a lot of people they feel like the information isn't out there, but it is. Like, in my opinion, it's like you can't just do a quick Google search and just stop on that first page. You got to be willing to go to page 3, 4, 5. The stuff is out there because this information that I was able to get as far as vendors, manufacturers, and stuff like that, it wasn't bought. Like this is before people were like heavy with the digital products selling vendors lists and stuff. This is all
Oh, okay.
information that I was able to just find online myself, and I was just writing down vendors, of course, going on their websites, registering, of course, getting like sellers permits, EIN numbers, and all of that. But starting out, I started out with literally two two pairs of shoes. Literally two pairs of shoes. It was like I can remember the shoes. It was like two little booties or whatever. One was red, one was black. And now I'm on Shopify. When I first started, I had a big cartel website with just some two pair of shoes. I didn't have a graphic designer. I didn't have any of that. I set up my big cartel myself. I went on Fiverr, I believe, for my very first logo, trying to keep costs low. And it was just me doing everything. Like anything that I looked up, I did it all myself. And when it came to just putting myself out there, of course, I locked in all of my like social media platforms and stuff like that. I would get flyers, of course, business cards. If I was out and somebody asked me about something that I had on, of course, I'm handing out a flyer or a business card. But when it came to the social media aspect of stuff, I would say maybe the second year, I started getting tapped in with like influencer marketing. And during that time, also, I did start taking a lot of like online courses for different people that were just telling you how to navigate e-commerce, how to put your brand out there, and different marketing techniques and things like that to try. Originally, like I said, it was influencer marketing that helped me grow my brand in the very, very beginning. Um, just finding those
Okay.
influencers on mostly Instagram.
So
You
kind
see
of break
them
that
drop.
down there about like what that
Mhm.
is, real. Can you kind of
Okay.
break that down?
Oh yeah, for sure. So influencer marketing usually. whether it's a person that, let's just say, used to be on reality TV, or a YouTuber, or someone who's known for their fashion sense or something like that, who has a pretty large following. Not all the time though, because the smaller influencers can do numbers as well. But during that time, you were looking for the influencers that had a lot of followers. And let's just say you see that this person posts, nice clothes or whatever, and their followers are like asking questions, like, where'd you get that from or whatever. I would be sending my clothes, and at the time, like I said, shoes, to these influencers to be posted and tagged. And then, of course, that would send traffic to not only my social media accounts, but also to my website to get me sales. So that's how I originally started growing my following on social media and to my website and all of that. It was still a struggle. I'm not gonna lie, because I was so new. I still didn't know what I was doing. It was like, oh, I get a spike of sales, and then it's like, oh, now what I do? I still didn't really know what to do getting started. So I was doing that on the social media side. And then I would say in the last, I'm gonna say 2 to 3 years is when I saw the most growth. The biggest growth hack for my business is when I finally learned how to do Facebook ads. When I figured out how to do Facebook ads like the right way, that's when my business like really took off, because I dabbled in Facebook ads at the beginning, but I didn't know what I was doing. I hadn't taken any courses, no nothing. And then just over time, I started trying different stuff. And when I did those Facebook conversion ads, that's when I would get like thousands, hundreds, or whatever amount of people to my website daily. I could literally take pictures on a Tuesday, start an ad at midnight. I could be sold out by, midnight the next day. Like within 24 hours, I was selling out. Will take pictures literally, and all the time I take pictures. It wouldn't be with a professional photographer. It would be me and Chris outside, wherever we chose to take the pictures or whatever. I take the pictures, edit it if need be, post them online, get them ads going, and it was just like rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. That's how I was able to grow my business the most. And during that time, while I was running the ads, I'm getting all the traffic to the website, so I'm collecting emails, I'm collecting phone numbers, so I'm building up my email list and my text list. So in the midst of running the ads, I also had the emails and the text messages also to fall back on as well. But that's, I would say, the way that I grew my business the fastest. It
So
got
what? So
crazy, but
I was gonna say, so what do you use for like your email and text list? What server do you use? Because I hear people like Mailchimp, I think, and like a few others. Like, what do you use?
for my email, currently I use MailChimp, and then for my texting, is it text now? Simple Text. That's what it is. Simpletext.com. Simple Texting. It's either simpletext.com or simpletexting.com. That's what I've used for texting. I actually plan to switch it just because I've been researching some other companies like Postscript and SMS Bump and stuff like that. But those are the two that I currently have.
Okay, you see like more success in like the email. Like, what's your like? So I know Facebook ads, you said like your bread and butter, but like when you start doing like email and text marketing, like what
hmm
works better for you?
To be honest, for me, I would say text messaging, because you already know everybody keep their phone around them in their hand or whatever. So with email, it's a slower move, in my opinion, just depending on the audience and things like that. But I would say definitely the texting is if you want to get people on your website fast. But I would say still don't sleep on emails, because I still make a good amount of my money with my email list too. But
Okay.
sometimes people don't check their email right away, because I could send an email out. I was just telling Chris about that. I could send an email, let's just say last Monday, and somebody might not pick to choose the day they check their email till a week later, and then it'll show me that the email generated. I'm like, I didn't send an email till like I sent the email like last week, and I'll be like, oh, okay. So it'll still work for you. I would say text if you're looking for the fastest way to get people on your website, because they're gonna open up that text message right then
Yeah.
and there. But email, just depending on your target audience, because with me, I do have, I would say, customers that are in their 20s, but most of my target audience, they're women that are like 40 and up. Just That's just what I started to realize. That's when I was running those Facebook ads, I realized that a lot of my target audience were older women. So I honestly feel like with them, the email is probably the best way to get to them. But everybody else mostly text messaging. But I mean, everybody text messages. But
Okay, I
yeah.
mean, but I like it though. You say you just don't Chris and like y'all keep that like honestly that keep your overhead super low, and that's another good thing about like what you do. Like So you say when you deal with like outsourcing, right? So like
Mhm.
you just find different vendors, I guess, and you buy the stuff from them. You wholesale it all. You buy a wholesale from them, and you just flip it that way.
That's what I've been doing. I One of my end goals definitely is to start designing my own stuff. I haven't stepped into that yet, but right now, yes, I buy from vendors and then get a wholesale and then resell it. And originally, how I got most of the vendors was just me searching online, and then I would say maybe year 3 or 4, I went to Vegas. I went to Magic, which is like basically an apparel trade show where there's not only manufacturers, but there's vendors, people from all over the country where you can basically just meet vendors face to face. And then even some of the vendors from in the United States, they're there as well. And that's just a good way for you to build more of that face to face interaction. Build a relationship with the vendors. And I also have went to Atlanta Apparel, which is basically the same thing as the one that's in Vegas, but it's on a smaller scale. But it's pretty much the same, just a bunch of vendors, and they're out there though. It's not like, I feel like it's not hard for you to find what you're looking for, no matter what industry it is.
Okay, so now like let's say we got somebody. It's crazy because you cater to like I always tell people the best audience to cater to when you selling something like when you have is like women. Cause y'all
hmm
go like y'all don't mind paying. You're not gonna try to find the cheapest route. Like y'all just gonna pay. Like y'all just gonna buy what y'all want. Y'all don't care. Like and so that's why it's crazy. Like it's always dope to see people like you a black woman out here just killing it. But it's like I want to ask, what's like your biggest expense like right now with your business?
My biggest expense, I would say probably inventory,
Okay, so I was
because when
curious
I
of
get
it. All right.
yeah, it would probably be inventory, and then up next, second would probably be marketing. I say inventory because, like, at first when I started out, I would get like one or two, styles or colors or whatever. But as I grew, something that I noticed was once I got like my best sellers, I would get like 5 plus colors. Like, there's been some items where I would get like 10 plus colors, because it's like if they like something, I'm gonna give it to you in whatever color like that's out there, just so you can have all those options. Because some women might come through, and some of them do. If they like it enough, they'll get every single color that you got. And that'll be, a 7 to 10 item order, just because you got what they want and they like it. And they're gonna get it in every color. So once you find those items that you feel are like your best customers, not your best customers, but your best sellers, then I would say get them and then like just maximize it and get every
Okay.
color that you can if you're selling clothes.
Okay. Now you mentioned so like they'll come through and just like basically clean you out. Like what is like the average like okay, so you said you went like a super designer type boutique per se, but like what's like your average cost per item in your store? Just so people get
Like
like an idea.
wholesale
Like the stuff you offer,
or
like the stuff in your store. Like
okay.
what is your average? Like what's the average price for the stuff you selling? Not like buying from
Oh,
a
okay.
host. Like,
Oh yeah, for sure. I would say average cost probably like $50.
okay, dang, they be coming through. Dang. I,
Yeah,
well, I
like
got
$50. That's average. That could be like a dress or a jumpsuit or something. The highest item I think that I've sold is probably around maybe like 130 to 150. I haven't had anything that's like over $200 yet. Not just one item.
so what's your craziest month of sales?
Craziest month. The most I've made so far in a month has been like 42K. What?
Sheesh, sheesh, man, dang! I didn't know what I was expecting, but in a month, damn. Hey, you about to have people over here convinced to go with this? Let me chill out because that's my problem right now. I hear somebody talk about something, I want to try it, but so you mentioned that like where I know it had to get a point. Like you say, you started off with like two items that were just shoes. Like I know it had to
hmm
get a point where this, or maybe it wasn't, but it became overwhelming for you, or no?
Yeah. I would say not last year. Let me see. That's 2021. I would say between 2019 and 2020 is when like I started really ramping up with my ads and stuff. So I was still in the house, of course. So it was like inventory coming like almost daily, constantly coming in. and then me dealing with the small space, at the house, like 1 or 2 rooms. And then even when I got like the shelving to house all my inventory, I got more organized for sure. Because working out of boxes made stuff hectic. Like it got
So you
stuff
at this point,
unorganized.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but
Oh
like
no,
you
you
at this
good.
point, you doing. I know you say you're in a fulfillment center, but like at that point, before you got in a fulfillment center, you doing everything.
Yeah, yeah, everything. Like, granted, like when I did like post office runs and stuff like that, Chris, of course, he'll help me because that's a lot of stuff to just haul. But as
Yeah,
far as like the day to day packing orders and stuff, yeah, it was me.
like you ain't got no like you don't outsource to no VAs, nothing. Like you just do everything.
No, I didn't have none of that. It was just
Dang.
me. And I'm gonna be honest though. Like I know a lot of times people get overwhelmed with like emails and stuff. Even during like my best sales months and stuff like that, I honestly don't get a lot of emails. To be quite honest, like I don't get a whole lot of emails and like people like calling and stuff like that. And if I do, it's like those little one-off situations. So I've never really needed it during that time. Like you said, when I first was like really scaling, it got crazy because a lot of the shipments had got delayed. So I was getting an influx of emails of people like, "Where's my order?" Da, 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 da. So it got to the point to where I was like, "Let me just call these people," because I'm like, I don't want to like come off like I'm scamming because obviously I'm not. So it got to the point to where it was like, "Well, let me call them, let them know what the situation is, and if they want, to keep the order, cool, and if they don't, I can cancel it." But yeah, it was just me.
No, I'm glad you just mentioned that though, like because a lot of people don't realize customer service is a huge thing in all
hmm
businesses. So I was gonna ask like what challenges did you have with that? Because I know everybody got their own like challenges when they dealing with customer service.
Yeah, to be honest, like it got bad at one point to where I was getting frustrated, like where it was like if somebody came at me wrong, I just cancel your order. I was like upset because I'm like they don't understand. It's just me, and they like are impatient, and you're trying to stay in between your shipping time frames and stuff like that. So during that time, excuse me, it was like frustrating to like have people coming at me in a way that made it seem like I was trying to get over or I was scamming or something like that. Just that influx of growth, and then it just being you, and you're just trying to stay organized and just keep it all together. I would say that is the probably the craziest it had gotten during that time when I was first growing, like really scaling the business.
Okay, and so like now, like, can you kind of compare the difference between? So, what is your day to day like? What did your day to day look like? So, your day to back then, I guess, was way more hectic. What does it look like now that you're able to have like a fulfillment center handling most of this stuff?
Well, then compared to now, it would be me getting up and basically feeling like I was a slave in a sense to my orders because it would just be me. So it's like me getting up, packing orders, getting out as much as I could, loading up my car, packing it up, going to the post office, scanning it in and stuff like that. And then now it's more so just me getting up. I don't feel like forced to get up. Like I kind of just get up when I want to. And I don't have to worry about the orders, of course, but I get up, I source product because I got to keep inventory coming in. And then I handle my marketing, of course, whether it's me hitting up some influencers or running an ad or whatever the case may be. And then, like the fulfillment center, they check in with me just to kind of let me know how things are going. If they need, let's just say, more poly mailers or something like that, just whatever the case may be, then they let me know. And they're actually local, so I can go up there whenever I want to. So if I need to get
Okay,
product to take pictures in and stuff like that, I can go up there and get what I need. Or even if I don't want to go up there, I can just get them to like ship me to the house what I need in order to take my pictures and stuff like that. But it's super convenient because having all that inventory at the house, it was getting crazy. Like regardless of me having the shelves and stuff, it feels like you're getting closed in with just boxes and just stuff coming in, and it gets hectic. But I would say now I have more freedom because even during that time where I was like first kind of scaling, we had went like on just a quick little family vacation, and I enjoyed it, of course, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't want to be out here too long because I gotta get back home and pack orders. Like that was on my mind. I couldn't just
okay,
have
yeah, I get what
fun
you're
and
saying.
just be chilling. I always felt like, dang, I gotta go back home and pack these orders. The orders piling up because when we on vacation, I'm still getting orders, And it's like, ain't nobody at the house packing them. So I know I got to pack them once I get back. So now I know it's like, if we go somewhere, I'm good because they're already being packed. And like the best feeling when I first transitioned to the fulfillment center, like on Shopify, like once you hit over like 50 orders, it'll say 50 plus orders that need to be fulfilled. But I remember like first getting in that fulfillment center and like when they first started packing my orders and stuff and just like literally chilling on the couch and like the order that needs to be fulfilled, the orders was just dropping. And I wasn't doing nothing. So to me, that's been like the biggest reward, just being able to be more hands off and not be so stressed, always worried about order or fulfillment of orders.
Oh, no, that's dope. And so at this point, outside of the fulfillment center, you still handling everything like one by yourself.
I don't have a lot, to be honest. I don't have a lot to handle because
Okay.
like the packing the orders was the biggest thing for me. Like that was what was like slowing me down. I feel like and slowing down the growth. But now that it's just like the influencers and stuff like that, it's like it's nothing for me to send an email and be like, hey, whatever. But yeah, it's still me. But the fulfillment center, they handle all the order stuff, any
So
pack.
yeah, so now you done built like some systems around it now that you done scale. So you just kind of like it's on autopilot. It could just run like almost without you in a sense, right?
In a sense, because I don't know if you deal with Shopify, but Shopify has everything that I need. Like I'm able to review everything as far as like number of sales, what's selling the most, what's not selling, um, like analytics. You compare last month to this month. I'm able to see a lot of detailed reports and stuff within my Shopify and like my emails and stuff. I still set those up currently. I set those up and I'll schedule them. Like if I want to email, to go out Monday at 7 a.m. or whatever, I'll set all that stuff up. So it's already done. But yeah, and when it comes to, like I said, handpicking the influencers, that's me because I know what I'm looking for. I know what kind of audience I want you to have. I know how I want you to dress, how you're presenting yourself on social media. I like to, and that could be me just being like too much of a control freak. I don't know. But when it comes to that, I like to be hands on with that because I know the type of person that I want representing my brand, and then I'd rather be the one to reach out to them just so I have that relationship, I guess, that I'm somewhat building with them.
So like, who's the biggest like influencer you done worked with? Like, just curious. Like,
Uh, One person that I work, I'm not even gonna say their name. I'll tell you later. But anyway, somebody that I worked with was somebody that was on a reality TV show, and this was back in 2016. I'll tell you later. I don't want to put no names out there, but that
okay,
was the biggest person that I personally had worked with, and it started out really well, and it didn't end very well. So that's why I don't want to say no names or whatever.
oh man, I kind of want the story now. That's all good. I mean, get us tell the story. Just don't use no names.
Okay, so it started out just as when I was selling shoes. It started out at one point I was in, I don't even know what to call the group. I'm gonna just say like an influencer marketing group. When I first got started, maybe like a year or so in, I was a part of
Okay,
this group of women who all had some type of e-commerce business. And so we would get these deals to work with larger influencers. So the person who was over the group would basically reach out to these influencers, managers and stuff, and basically proposition a deal. And we would get, instead of having to pay, let's say, I don't know, $500 for a post, we would be paying like 100 because so many of us would go in on the deal, they'll give us a discount. So this particular person was wearing my shoes, and I would send, 1 to, I don't know, 5 pairs or so at a time, and then they would just, sprinkle out the post whenever in a decent time frame. So it got to the point to where this person felt like they could just post when they wanted to. Like you've already been paid, and you just feel like you can do what you want to do. So me being me, I reach out professionally, like, hey, are you gonna be able to post? And I would get a response back, and this is all via DM. I would get a response back, and like, yeah, I'm gonna post, da 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 da. So it was getting worse. It was just getting worse and worse.
yeah,
I'm like, they playing with my money because at this point it's like that's how I'm marketing. So I'm like somewhat dependent on this person to like put my stuff out there because that's one of the only people I was working with at the time. And so it got to the point to where I had to dispute the charge because I was like, you ain't gonna
dang,
post. let me just get my money back. So for anybody who is looking to work with influencers, I would say definitely use a payment method that you can dispute. I personally love PayPal. You can just pay goods and services. A lot of influencers try to get you to pay friends and family. I don't play that game anymore.
Nah,
I always
that's
pay
a
goods and
fact.
services. Yeah, I pay goods and services and I add like whatever the additional fee is because you just never know. You think stuff going good and then it goes left because that person, I didn't think it would have ended the way it did because that person came to Dallas one time. Like me and Chris met them. They invited us out to the club. We was having a good old time. This was,
Hey,
those it was like a good working relationship that I did not see going left, but it just got to the point to where I guess she didn't take it serious, maybe because she felt like I wasn't a brand that she should take serious at the time. I don't know. All I know is I had to dispute and I've never worked with her again. She threatened to like make it public in a DM. Like I still have these DMs in my DM to this day. Like I don't talk to
hey,
this person, but like I have the DMs where she was like, this is gonna be a very public manner if you don't basically drop the dispute or whatever. And I just opened it and didn't respond. But I very much so did dispute that charge and got my money.
wow, dang, it's crazy.
But
And
yeah,
see, that's
but
part of the game though too. That's what people gotta
it
understand. Like, you
is.
gonna deal with that.
You are,
God,
and that was, to be honest, like a good and bad situation, and it was a learning experience. But to be honest, like I've also, even now, I've worked with some really good professional influencers, and we have a great working relationship. And I don't have those type of problems. I don't want to like deter anybody from influencer marketing because it can be really good too. But that was just that like one off time where it was good and then it was bad. So people got to be wary of
okay,
that. That's why I always tell people pay in a way that you can dispute if you need to.
okay. Now I know you mentioned like you Facebook ads, like that's where you really found like your like stride.
Hmm.
Now just like comparing it to right, we'll just start like so like influencer marketing. I don't do it,
Hmm.
so I can't get no advice on it. I just know people that are influencers. So like,
Hmm.
can you kind of break down people like what they can expect? Or like, let's talk about just your personal experience, like what you was kind
Hmm.
of like your average spend to a Facebook marketer, and like what was the
Hmm.
return you was getting from that, like so people can understand why you choose to still use this method for marketing.
Oh yeah, for sure. So for example, let's just say an influencer charges. They usually just depending on their like engagement and stuff, it's gonna vary. So some prices they might seem outrageous, but for that person, it might actually be worth it. So let's just say somebody charges $100, and that could be for them to post a picture in your clothes, or that could be for them to post a reel, some type of video content, whatever. I've had a return. I would say spent about 100, and I've made close to maybe like 900 to 1,000 on that one post. And something else that's going to like determine that is you having like enough inventory on hand because there's also been some times where I could pay somebody, let's just say 400 and I'm gonna give an example, like $450, and I ain't make nothing. I just gotta be honest. Like it's just really gonna depend on if you found the right person for your brand. Does it make sense? Are their followers actually following them for what you're sending them? Like, are they actually, for me, it's like, do their followers follow them because they like the clothes that they wear? Because they might be following them because they like something completely different than clothing. It could be, I don't know, their shoe collection or something. And if that's the case, then they don't give a, sometimes they might not give a care about them clothes. Or just, you got to be very specific, I feel like, when you're picking them, because if you're choosing the wrong person, then it's not going to work. But if you choose that right person, I feel like make sure you have enough inventory on hand because it could be some sales that you missed out on just because you didn't have enough inventory.
So you really hit on something right there. Like for one, like I deal with the same thing in the cleaning business. Like you have to
Hmm.
understand, like you have to be willing to spend some money on marketing and understand that it may not hit. Like I remember my first
Yeah,
month in business, I spent money and I was just like, damn, like I can't get nothing. And then it's like once you
exactly.
find that avenue though, and you put a little bit of money in there, you start seeing immediate results. And then it's like same situation as you, like it gets to a point where it's overwhelming. And now you got to figure out a way to pivot to, be able to handle
Hmm.
that demand. So it's all like a big game. It's crazy. Like when people all the time you hear people say like it's like a little faucet, like you can turn like depending on how much you put into it, that's how much you're gonna get back out of it. And you be thinking that it don't make sense to you at first when you originally hear people say that, but it's a very
Mm-hmm.
true statement because truly, like I've seen it, like even on my end, and you could kind of speak on your end as well. Like the more money I put in the marketing, the more leads you're gonna get. And that's what it's really about. Like you want people, you want to get in
Mm-hmm.
front of as many people's faces as possible. Cause then that's gonna turn into them hitting you up. Like for me, it's them like coming and calling me for a booking, or they might just
Mm-hmm.
go to my website. For you, it's just them straight going to your website. Now boom, you got them in front of everything, and now they can start
Mm-hmm.
purchasing. Also, everybody to me, like if y'all got a business, have a website. Make it real easy for somebody to be
Yes.
able to like buy stuff without talking to you. Like that's kind of like why I like the cleaning business how I do it, and I'm sure that's why you do Shopify. It's like there's no need for you to do a brick and mortar store. You a 6-figure business and you ain't even got a storefront. And we were
Mm-hmm.
sitting here looking at big time companies going out of business that sell clothes and stuff. And for what? Because all they didn't want to adjust and transition with the times. Like make it simple
Yep.
for somebody. Make it to where they don't have to hit you up. And if they do have to hit you up, be responsible. But at the end of the day, just having a website, like I've had times where I go to sleep and I wake up and I got a booking for a cleaning. I'm sure you had the
Mm-hmm.
same thing where you just kind of,
Yep.
you just chilling. You don't even know what's going on. You out doing something, not even paying attention, and boom, you got to sell.
Mm-hmm.
So like everybody needs to get like some type of way for people to buy your product online because also
I
what that
agree.
allows you to do is scale, take yourself out of the business. You can start hiring people for customer service. Or you can hire a couple VAs. Like you did, you hired a
Mm-hmm.
fulfillment center. So now it's way less work on you. So instead of spending, 10 hours a day working on the business, you might spend 10 hours the whole week. So it's just little things
Mm-hmm.
like that. Don't get it wrong. Like you're gonna have to grind, you're gonna have to work in the beginning. Like if y'all don't take nothing away from this, understand like prison started 7 years ago. Like I don't think people
Yeah.
realize. Like you talk about 7 years ago, you started off with 2 pairs of shoes, and now you got a whole arsenal of stuff. So
Yeah.
people need to understand that as well. Like a lot of us, I think, get that thing where we see all the stuff going on social media, we see all the success a lot of people are getting. You don't half the time you don't realize most of that stuff is fake. Like I'm gonna say it like
Yep.
it is because I've come to like meet these people that's like know all these people in the game. Like a lot of the stuff ain't what you think it is. And so you start
Mm-hmm.
comparing yourself to them instead of just kind of running your own race and understanding what you can handle. Because a lot of times what'll also happen is you want to be like that person that's making $1 million in a day, but not understanding you can't even handle that. And I had like that's something
Yeah.
people gotta understand too, because I've seen the influx stuff when I turn up marketing and I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
I can't handle this. So yeah, I gotta turn
Yeah.
it back down and tone it down a little bit. So people need to understand that aspect of things as well. Like I didn't mean to like hijack or nothing like that, but it's just like people need to understand that you
No.
was really hitting on
That's
something with that,
fact.
like understanding like the market research aspect that goes into it. Like you wouldn't even like you mentioned all these different like charts and stuff and analytics you look at. People probably just thinking like, oh, she just over there buying some clothes and flipping it. And there's a lot more that go into that. You got
That's
text message
exactly what I
marketing,
think people.
email marketing. Like it's a whole like when you really get into it, I need y'all to understand like what she doing. You running a business, like it's still it's an actual business. Like people, it ain't just no like a side hustle type thing. Like you really putting your all into this. And now, if you fortunate enough, like she was, to be able to scale it to something where it's like, hey, this is full time me. Now you can go outsource something to a fulfillment center. That's when you like. I don't think y'all get it. Like that's when you know you big time. Like when you can start getting it to that point where you can get a fulfillment center, start doing your orders, and now you can just kind of handle like the day to day. That's where you start seeing real growth because that allows you to step back from doing the manual labor part of it. You're not working in the business no more. You're working on the business. So y'all need to understand the difference in the two. Like a lot of us, we get so caught up in working in the business because it's our baby, and we want to, and we thinking that that's what's making it better, and that's how we scale, and that's how we growing. But really, you holding yourself back from being able to really take it to the next level by outsourcing a little bit. Like yeah, you can still do some day to day stuff, but you have to understand, like people tell me, people ask me all the time, like when I talk about I'm doing a cleaning business. Oh, so you going to clean the houses? No, I'm not. I got a few cleaners. Hey, I just get the bookings and I tell them, hey, this is where it is. This is what you get
Mm-hmm.
paid, and they go clean it. All I gotta
Yeah.
do is hit two buttons. After that, I gotta put a hold on the card and I gotta charge the card when the cleaning's done. So it's not like overwhelming to me. But hey, on the back end, I'm spending money on the marketing. Like it's a give and take. So you
Mm-hmm.
just have to understand your lane and what you're trying to do. I mean, don't get me wrong. People that make courses, you need to make you a course. I mean, you got game. Like you got to figure
Man.
it out. But I mean, everybody different. Not everybody want to do that route. and that's fine. But just understand there's a lot that goes with this. And all these easy business y'all see, yeah, it's simple, but it ain't easy.
Yeah, you're right. Because I like when you said that people think I'm just flipping clothes. Because I think people like legit think I just take pictures and then stuff just be selling. I'm like, nah, I ain't just taking pictures and
Mm-hmm.
stuff sell. Like, no, like I could take a picture and post it, and it might not make a sound.
Hey,
Like I have to
I
use
feel
other
you.
ways to market.
I ain't too deep into this thing in my first month. I did all this money to go to marketing. I got one booking. One.
Man, it can be
One.
like that. And that's another thing. Like a lot of people, they could experience what you experience or experience what I experienced. Like from sometimes where you put something out there and it might not hit or you might not get a book and they be ready to quit. It's like
And that I was just about to
no.
say, and that's the thing right there that separate people that's successful from the people that end up their business. You end up that statistic of the business that didn't make it past 5 years, right? Like
Mhm.
imagine if you had to just like the first bad thing that happened, you were just like, all right, I'm done with it. Well, you
Mhm.
don't even know, like for me, my first month I had one book, and my next month I hit my first four figures, and then this month I did my first four figures in a day. So it's like it, if I had to just said, dang, I ain't did nothing as far as my like this, like nah, what I did, I pivoted. I found a new marketing avenue. I was waiting to get approved for some stuff with Google to get on Google My
Mhm.
Business, Google Local Services, like just different avenues to take. So people
Mhm.
got to understand, like you ain't exhausted all the possibilities, especially in the first month. You also need
Yeah,
to understand, like some businesses ain't all year round type. Everything ain't Amazon.
it's
Like
really
it ain't
not.
something that's gonna go all year round. Like sometimes you might have a business that feel like when I did Turo, you have to understand like during the summertime months people traveling. When you come to like
Mhm.
wintertime, yeah, business gonna slow down. So it's like you have to understand that, but you don't understand that unless you do your market research. And people
Exactly.
think
Them
that that
analytics.
ain't no thing, but you need to understand how that stuff works. Because if you don't understand how it works, you just gonna kind of be like fishing, and that like at the end of the day, that don't lead to nothing. Like you just kind of playing a guessing game at that point.
That's facts, and that's why I was talking about those analytics, like those reports. Like when it comes to like me shopping for like the upcoming seasons and stuff like that. Like back in December, I might be gearing up for spring or whatever, and it's like, okay, what was my bestsellers last spring? Okay, I can get that again. If I can get something again that was a bestseller like last season around this time, I'll get it, and I might just get different colors than I got last time. But those reports really do help. It helps me better determine what I need to get for like
Mm-hmm.
upcoming seasons, what was trash, like, oh, don't order that again. Just little stuff like
Yep.
that.
And like, I got a question for you. Like, when did you hit your first six-figure year, anyways? Because that's something that I really would be curious to know.
It wasn't year one. It wasn't last. Was it 2019? I think if it wasn't 2019, it was 2020, and I did it like maybe 2 or 3 months before the end of the year. So it took about maybe 9 to 10 months to do it,
Now,
and then
understand what you just said. Like, I want people to understand that though. You started back in 2015. Like, it ain't no
Mhm.
overnight thing for like everybody to see you now and they be like, "Ooh, she up." Like, how you did this? But they don't even realize you've been putting in the work for years. And you
Yeah,
really
it
putting in
took
work
me
because you out here
years.
doing everything by your like you doing most of the work by yourself. And so you really putting in work. So a lot of people, that's also something y'all got to think about. How much money you got? Like some of these people out here, like if I'm a, I'm a millionaire and I go start a business, I got way more money I can pump into it. If I'm,
Mhm.
if I'm somebody that's out here just struggling, barely making ends meet, I might only have $500 to even get started. And sometimes a business, you gonna need way more than that. So that's why I
That's
try to tell
fact.
people like, how much money you got sent to the side? Like, what if this go left and you over here putting your all into it? Like, are you prepared like for a rainy
Mhm.
day to like you still got to live, you still got to survive. So like, if this your only means of income, that's why I tell people don't just quit your job automatically. Like everybody want to, it sounds cool right now because everybody talking about being an entrepreneur. You got the
Yeah.
traders out here for stocks. You got people that's out here starting their own business. So
Mhm.
it's like the allure. Everybody think that's cool, but you have to understand like I was using like don't get I still work. Like I'm gonna still go I'm
Mhm.
always find some kind of job. And I use that money to go into the business. Because now you got a cycle, right? Like if it ever run out, well, you still making money. And so technically you just
Mhm.
giving your business a loan. At some point the business can pay you back. So
That's
like
facts.
people need to understand that aspect as well. Don't just sit here and be like, oh, I quit and just think you about to just jump off. Like, yeah, that may work for some people. That's fine. But most people,
Yeah,
you're not about to just jump off the lid and say, hey, I'm starting a business. I ain't got no clue I'm gonna do it. And it just turn into, a 6, 7 figure monster overnight. It just don't usually happen like that. So just
it
keep that in
really
mind,
don't.
people. Everybody tapping in, just understand that aspect of things as well. But no, Pris, I definitely appreciate you coming through. Hey, you over here dropped the whole master class. You need to make a course. You really
And
need to make a
I
course.
don't have a course. I do have like 2 or 3 digital products that I offer, but I don't have a course. I've just never taken the time to sit down and just record it. I know I should, and that's something that I feel like I've slept on as far as courses. People have been asking me to do Facebook ads courses and just different types of courses regarding boutiques and stuff, and I just haven't made the time to do it. I'm gonna be honest.
I'm about to say you got a couple licks I done heard just through this, just teaching people some free game. But like you can monetize that. And just like real quick, you say you got digital products. Like, can you kind of break down like what kind of digital products you offer right now?
Yeah, right now, like originally, one thing that I offered, I would put together custom vendors list for people, just depending on what type of
Okay.
business you wanted to have. And then after that, that got a little bit too time consuming. So now I have like a plus size vendors list because a lot of my customers are plus size. So a lot of them want to know how to start businesses with plus size clothing. So I have that. And then I offer like business consultations. And then something else that I have is a private label, like contact information, where you can get your clothes with your brand's tag or whatever put on the inside of it, so you're not basically throwing all the vendors' information out there. But that's
Okay.
pretty much it for now until I take the time to do some more.
That's crazy. You don't talk about you shy, and you don't really talk in front of people. You over here giving out a free game. But
I mean,
nah,
I really don't.
hey, but I definitely appreciate you coming on. And I do this last segment. I do a talk to the culture segment. I just run off 5 questions. You answer to the best of your abilities, and we can go ahead and wrap this thing up. So the first one is
Okay.
just, what does wealth look like to you?
Wealth to me is obviously financial freedom, being able to do what you want to do, and generational wealth as a whole. Not only looking out for you, but being in a space financially where you know you're good, kids are good, and just generations going forward.
Okay. And I always get one book recommendation. Try to make it business related, but hey, just one book you
Okay.
think that can help somebody.
The book, I'm not even done yet, but I have to recommend this book. The book I recommend is We All Should Be Millionaires. And it's by, I believe, Rachel Rogers is her name. And that book has been a game changer for me. Like, she
I just heard
obviously,
somebody recommend that book.
that book. So I was recommended it by like a social media influencer who had like made $1 million in like brand sponsorships. I'm like, she keeps recommending this book. So I finally got the book and I'm a little bit more than halfway done. I'm almost done with it. But yeah, it's a game changer. It's like the whole like way you think. It's like a mindset shift, I feel like. So that's what I recommend. We Should All Be Millionaires. That's the
Okay.
book I recommend.
No, we tailor to the black community over here. So I always ask everybody, what is one thing you think the black community needs to improve on?
My community. I would say the Black community needs to look at success from a different pair of eyes. Because a lot of times I would say that the Black community, they measure success off of material things, and that's, to me, that's not it, that's not all. So I would say they need to look at different things when it comes to success. They need to be willing to look past the material things and actually just know what's going on, like get into financial literacy and things like that. So I would say just be willing to look past materialistic things when it comes to what you're defining as success and what they just see as success as a whole.
Okay. And I always ask everybody this because, hey, when I look back in 5 years from now and I'll be looking back on all the podcasts I did, I just want to ask, like, what's next for you? What's like the next few years? Like, what you got planned? What's going for you?
What I want to do, the next thing I would say I want to do is, I definitely want to scale to the 7 figure mark. That's like a big goal for me. And then I want to start designing my own pieces because I don't have a problem, obviously, getting things from vendors like I do now and like reselling it. But I think a real game changer for me is going to be when I start designing my own pieces and I have my own collection.
Okay. And now, last but not least, Anybody that want to check you out, follow you, tap in with your brand and what you got going on, can you just knock out your like Instagram, Twitter, anything where they can follow you at, websites, all of that?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so on Instagram, I have my personal Instagram page, which is Princess Neugent, PRINCSS, and Neugent is NEUGENT. And then my business Instagram is Shop Neugent, SHOPNEUGENT. My website is shopneugent.com. I'm on TikTok. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not very active on there. Like influencers post me on there, but I'm personally not active on there. But it's my first and last name, Princess Neugent. My Twitter is Princess Neugent. Facebook page is Shop Neugent. And that's pretty much all I'm active on. Like I have like Snapchat and stuff, but I'm not active on there, so I'd rather not plug that.
All right, now you already know what it is, man. We'll have all that in the show notes for everybody that want to tap in with her. And you know, like I always say, man, we're good at success. If everybody around you still struggling, man, each one reach one, each one teach one, man. Princess, I appreciate you for coming on, man. Appreciate you for dropping
No
game, just
problem.
giving everybody a chance to, see who you are, what you're about, man. But this is another episode of Wealth for the Culture, man, and we are out.
Thank you for having me.